Have you ever been sitting quietly and suddenly your brain decides to show you a movie? Not a fun one, not a comedy, but a full-blown disaster film starring you. You lose your job, someone you love gets hurt, that one text you didn't get, they probably hate you now. And just like that, you're spiraling. You haven't even stepped outside, and yet your mind is already rehearsing how everything might fall apart. Why does that happen? Why do we imagine the worst, even when everything seems fine? Welcome back to Emma Wonders, and today we're wondering about this question. Why do I imagine worst-case scenarios all the time? Let's start with this. You are not wired weird. In fact, your brain is doing exactly what it was designed to do. Thousands of years ago, imagining worst-case scenarios was a survival skill. If you were living on the savannah, and you didn't consider that rustle in the grass might be a lion, you probably didn't live long enough to tell the story. Your brain evolved to protect you. It runs simulations of possible threats to help you prepare. It's called anticipatory anxiety, and in short bursts, it can be helpful. But in our modern world, where lions have been replaced by emails, awkward conversations, and health concerns, this protective mechanism gets confused. As the psychologist Rick Hanson once said, the brain is like Velcro for negative experiences, but Teflon for positive ones. That negativity bias is ancient, but today, it's kind of like using a smoke detector to detect heartbreak. It just keeps going off. Have you noticed how these thoughts always start with, what if I mess this up? What if they leave? What if I never figure it out? Worst case scenario thinking is like a hamster wheel. You run and run and run, but you're not actually moving forward. You're rehearsing pain you haven't even experienced, just in case. It's a bit like carrying an umbrella every day, just because it might rain. But the emotional cost to this is that you never truly feel the sun. Here's the thing most people miss. Imagining the worst isn't always about fear. It's often about control. Somewhere deep down, your mind believes, if I prepare for the worst, I'll suffer less if it happens. It's an attempt to shield yourself from disappointment, heartbreak, or loss. But Brené Brown calls this foreboding joy. It's that feeling where something good is happening, but you're too scared to enjoy it. Because you think this can't last. So instead, you start rehearsing the fall. But as she says, joy becomes foreboding when we're afraid to let ourselves feel it. And the irony? All that imagining doesn't actually protect us. It just robs us of the peace we could have felt now. Sometimes our worst-case scenarios don't come from nowhere. They're echoes. If you grew up in an environment where the unexpected was dangerous, maybe emotional outbursts, financial instability, or constant criticism, your nervous system learned to brace for impact. Hypervigilance became a way of life. Even now, as an adult, your mind might still be scanning for the next threat, even when none exist. And that's not weakness. That's adaptation. But now that you're safer, maybe it's time to remind your mind. You don't have to live in constant rehearsal for pain. So, how do we stop? Number 1, we don't. Not entirely. You're human. You'll always imagine things, but we can interrupt the loop. Next time your brain spins into disaster mode, try this. Pause, take a deep breath, and ask, what else could be true? If your mind says they didn't reply because they're mad, ask, could they just be busy? This tiny shift from certainty to curiosity changes everything. Number 2, name the pattern. Oh, that's my brain catastrophizing again. Naming it reduces its power. You become the observer, not the victim. And number 3, ground yourself in the now. Feel your feet on the floor. Look around. Ask, am I safe in this moment? Most times, you are. And that reminder matters more than you think. I want you to imagine this. You're a lighthouse, built strong, steady, and rooted. Storms come and go. Waves crash. Winds howl. But your job isn't to chase the storm. Your job is to stay lit. Worst case scenarios are the waves. But your inner calm, that's the light. And the more you remember it's there, the less the storms can shake you. You're not weird for imagining the worst. You're not weak for being afraid. You're just a human with a brilliant, protective mind that sometimes forgets the war is over. And in that space between fear and reality, you have a choice to come back to yourself in that moment, to breathe, to trust that not every shadow means danger. Sometimes it's just a cloud passing by. So next time your mind starts the movie again, pause. You're not in danger, you're just alive. And that, in itself, is something to be grateful for. Thanks for spending this moment with me. If this episode made you feel seen, consider sharing it with someone else who needs a little calm in their storm. Until next time, keep wondering.